We're diving into a story that's as explosive as it is heartbreaking. A tale of power, manipulation, and betrayal that spans over a decade. In this episode, we dissect the 35-page lawsuit filed by Cassie Ventura against Sean Diddy Combs. Allegations that have sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and left fans reeling. Get ready to uncover the details of this chilling legal battle as we break down the accusations, the evidence, and the potential fallout. This is not just another celebrity scandal, it's a fight for justice in the spotlight. Stay tuned because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about this iconic duo.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, go into rehab. I had to ask God for His mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lindsay Unfiltered. And I'm really excited to continue our A to Z scandal series. Thank you guys for the new subs, everyone who's following, liking, sharing, and subscribing. I really, really appreciate it. We started off with Abu Ghraib, and then we went to Bernie Madoff, and now here we are at the C video now. Those scandals happened quite a few years ago, more than 20 years ago, right? Well, at least Abu Ghraib did. Decided to bring things more public with the C video, and we're gonna do Cassie and Diddy, right? For C, because that is a big scandal in the news right now. And I actually was thinking about doing this scandal before that tape drop that we watched in the intro, and I was like, what perfect timing to do a deep dive on the lawsuit. Okay, there's been a lot of YouTubers that have read the lawsuit, picked it apart, but I want to do myself justice, and I want to pick this apart with you guys. Let's pick it apart. Let's do our due diligence and pick this apart, because the video was just wow. The proof is in the pudding, right? And who sent that video to CNN? Like, who sent that? Okay, and then the apology shortly after. There's some things we need to look at. We need to dissect this lawsuit, and that will be our scandal task. It won't be more of an overview. It'll be more of a task or a deep exploration for the C video. The C video will be more than one video for sure, because that lawsuit is 35 pages, and we will begin our journey at the beginning of the lawsuit, and it will take us a span of 35 pages of reading. Okay, guys, we will read it, we will react to it, and we will share our opinions. So for everybody that's been here since the Quiet on Set video, I appreciate you. And if you don't do anything else, just share this video to someone who you think will enjoy it. Share it, share it, share it. Staple a bitch to a tree. Share. Because if you share it, somebody might see it and they might share it, you know? Liking and commenting, it's very in-house, right? It's very local. I want it to be more than local. You're understood more than local. Share. I appreciate everyone. So let's get into this goddamn lawsuit, okay, guys? Let's do it. Hi, guys. Here we are with the document of the year, it seems like. This is the lawsuit that everyone's talking about recently, and this is the center of attention for our CPs on the A to Z scandal. Cassandra Ventura is the plaintiff versus Sean Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Comb Enterprises, LLC, and Doe Corps 1 through 10 are the defendants. Okay? And there is a trigger warning on this document, meaning this document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including sensual assault. Plaintiff Cassandra Ventura, Miss Ventura, hereby alleges as and for her complaint against defendant Sean Combs, Mr. Combs, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Combs Enterprises, LLC, and Doe Corporations 1 through 10 together, defendant corporations, and together with Mr. Combs, defendants as follows. Okay, here's our preliminary statement. Defendant Sean Combs is a rapper and record executive, popularly known by his stage names Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. Okay, so which era of Diddy are you? I'm P. Diddy. I'm the P. Diddy era of person. Okay, so which era are you? My mom is Puffy. I don't know. Or Puff Daddy. I think the era before me was calling him Daddy, which is wild as but I'm P. Diddy. I'm stuck there. These new kids are Brother Love. I'm like, oh, what an image shift, right? Okay, I understand. You're trying to shift your image, and now we know why. Okay, Mr. Combs came to fame in the early 1990s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip-hop mogul. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs says, I have to give a special shout out, thank you, love to the people that was really there for me. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie, for holding me down in the dark times, love. All right. The truth, however, is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and trafficking. Among other violent and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs sensually assaulted Ms. Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, kicked, and stomped, which we now have video evidence of, Ms. Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. forced Miss Ventura to engage in sensual acts with male sensual workers while having fun by himself and filming the encounters. Forced. Wow. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby, demanded that Miss Ventura to carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addictions. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in 2005 when she was 19 years old, and he was 37 years old. Okay. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years, lured Miss Ventura into an ostentatious, fast-paced, drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him, her boss, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry, and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man, nearly 2 decades her senior. Wow. The attorney that wrote this, kudos. This feels like some type of horror novel. Like, oh my God. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Miss Ventura's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her incapability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. Throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Miss Ventura savagely. We can now confirm that. These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Mr. Combs related businesses, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss, because they could lose their jobs and they could lose their way to support their family. So what do? You keep your mouth shut, because money is power, and power is everything in the United States. And that's my unfiltered opinion. If you have money, you can get away with anything in the United States. Ask former President Donald Trump. Following these episodes of horrific abuse, Mr. Combs would immediately attempt to hide Miss Ventura and the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following incidents of physical violence, a typical pattern of behavior by serial abusers. My God. In addition to the physical assaults, Mr. Combs frequently reminded Miss Ventura of his ability to cause serious harms, whether by requiring her to carry his gun in her purse or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated, unwanted sexual encounters with male sensual workers. Over the years that Mr. Combs abused Miss Ventura physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far to explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. And it did. And it did. Did it not? Did it not? What did we hear from Cassie since Me and You? And Me and You was a bop, right? Me and You is still a bop to this day. It's a great track. And she probably can't even enjoy that track. She probably hates that track. Why? Because it was made during one of the darkest times of her life. And we were all jamming out to it, loving them, loving the image of what they represented. Rich, wealthy, black excellence, right? When she believed that she had finally separated from her longtime abuser, she joined Mr. Combs for a dinner, after which he forced her into her home and raped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. I have to watch out for these words. Miss Ventura has now fully escaped Mr. Combs, but the harm that the assaults and the sensual abuse he caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required extensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma she lived through. She cannot, however, continue to live in silence about what she endured. Mr. Combs remains immensely powerful and immensely dangerous. Miss Ventura therefore seeks justice for the decade of her life that Mr. Combs took away from her with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, and sensual bondage. Accordingly, Miss Ventura brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of federal trafficking laws, the New York State Human Rights Law, the New York City Human Rights Law, the Gender Motivated Violent Act NYC Admin Code, the New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking, the California Sensual Abuse and Cover-Up Accountability Act, and the California Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Now let's talk about the jurisdiction a little bit. I'm not going to go too deep into the jurisdiction. The court has jurisdiction pursuant to 28 U.S.C. Venue is proper in this court because a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to this action, including the unlawful employment practices and intentional and negligent torturous conduct alleged herein, occurred in this district. Okay. All right, parties. I'm not going to go too deep into the parties. I know I said I wanted to read it word by word, but honestly, we know who the parties are, okay? Plaintiff Cassandra Ventura is a resident of the states of California and Connecticut, and she was employed by defendants Bad Boy Record and Bad Boy Entertainment and the Doe Corporations 1 through 10 from 2006 to 2009, and she was an employee under all relevant statutes. Defendant Sean Combs, upon information and belief, resides within the state of California. At all relevant times herein, Mr. Combs met the definition of an employer under the plaintiff under all relevant statutes. Defendant Bad Boy Entertainment is a music, media, and entertainment company founded by defendant Sean Combs, which includes a definition of a record label. Defendant Bad Boy Records, LLC. At all relevant times, defendant was an employer of the plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Defendant Bad Boy Records, LLC is a LLC with a principal place of business in New York, New York. And again, at all relevant times, she was an employer of the plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Defendant Epic Records is a New York-based record label owned by Sony Music Entertainment, which is a subsidiary of Sony Corporation of America. At all relevant times, defendant was an employer of plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Okay. Defendant Combs Enterprises LLC is a New York LLC. At all relevant times, the defendant was an employer of the plaintiff within the meaning of all applicable statutes. Defendant Doe corporations 1 through 10 are all corporations and entities affiliated and associated with defendant Sean Combs and defendant corporations. At all relevant times, defendant Doe corporations 1 through 10 were employers of plaintiff with the meaning of all applicable statutes. Okay? Basically saying these are the people being sued. This is the person that's suing them for. That's a bunch of lawyer jargon for that. Okay? So, let's talk about the factual allegations, okay? So, we're going to start from the beginning. Cassie wants to start from the beginning. She wants to take us down memory road, right? Okay, so teenage Miss Ventura meets middle-aged Mr. Combs as her career begins. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in late 2005 or early 2006 after Mr. Combs heard Miss Ventura's first single playing in a club and expressed interest in signing her to his label, Bad Boy Records. Now, what was Cassie's first single? Does anybody know what Cassie's first single was? Because I must know now. I must know what Cassie's first single was. At the time, Miss Ventura was 19 years old and Mr. Combs was 37. That's not. Come on, bro. Within months, in February 2006, Miss Ventura signed a 10-album deal with Mr. Combs' record label. Cassie dropped like one album. I don't think Cassie dropped 10. 10? Why would you set such unrealistic... Why would P. Diddy set such unrealistic expectations for someone that's just stepping into music, that's never done a show, that's never done anything like that? I think it's just to hold her down, to make her feel like, oh, you're indebted to me. Y'all don't understand, bro. Okay. Y'all don't understand. Let me tighten up my mic because this is some bullshit. Okay. Miss Ventura's first album, Cassie, was released in August 2006, debuting at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 200. To promote the album, Miss Ventura made television appearances on MTV's Total Request Live and BET's 106 in Park. 106 was where it's at. Miss Ventura suffered from significant performance anxiety during these performances, and press outlets were highly critical of Miss Ventura's performance on these shows. Hey, she was a singer. She wasn't a performer at first. She had anxiety. Hell, that's normal, you know? Mr. Combs, however, sought to rehabilitate his newly signed talent, telling MTV News, now I'm going to try to be as P. Diddy as possible, okay? I need some shades, okay? You could hear the nervousness in her voice. And to be honest, I kind of smiled at it because she made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was kind of cute to me, to be honest. You gotta understand that success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge. And sometimes everybody handles it differently. While clearly paternalistic and noting that it was cute to him how regular Miss Ventura appeared, Mr. Combs' comments rang true to some extent. Upon signing with Bad Boy Records, Miss Ventura was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. Mr. Combs' recognition and glorification of Miss Ventura's naive proved to set the groundwork for his manipulative and coercive romantic and sexual relationship with Miss Ventura, a woman nearly 2 decades his senior. Within a year of signing with Bad Boy Records, Mr. Combs became deeply entrenched in Miss Ventura's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. In November 2006, Mr. Combs invited Miss Ventura to perform his song, Come to Me, along with him at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Copenhagen, Denmark. After rehearsal for the performance, Mr. Combs walked around with a robe and a... Why is Diddy always in a robe or a towel or something? Flaunting his lavish party lifestyle to his newly signed artists. During hair and makeup leading up to the performance, Miss Ventura's hairstylist and Mr. Combs' makeup artist told Miss Ventura that Mr. Combs was interested in Miss Ventura. Miss Ventura shrugged off the gossip and in fact expressed disgust given the large age gap between her and the president of her record label. He could be her dad. Like, if you think about it, he could be your father. She was probably like, ew, no, that's nasty. Like, she was probably like, P. Diddy likes me? No, no, he's not my type. No. I can see Cassie like right now, like, no, no, he drinks. No, I'm fine. No, thank you though. No. Emphasizing the age and power dynamic early on in their working relationship, Mr. Combs positioned himself as a father figure and a protector of Miss Ventura. And I believe this. I still have face mask on from last night. But I believe this because Krishan Rock said that. Because Krishan Rock also says that, or some people from Zeus Network allegedly say that their boss is kind of a douchebag as well. And he yells at them and, you know, he takes advantage of some of them or whatever the case may be. You know, he's a playboy, whatever. And he doesn't pay them what they're worth. You know, a lot of speculatory allegations going around about the CEO of Zeus. So the CEO of Zeus was going to a Diddy party. Krishan was there too. And Diddy got in the CEO's face. His name is Lemon Pepper. That's what we're going to refer to him as. And he said, you know, you're going to start treating her right. Pay her what the beep beep she's worth. And basically chastising him for treating Krishan less than, right? So when they say in this lawsuit, Mr. Combs positioned himself as a father figure and a protector, I can see that because he did the same thing to Krishan, right? According to Krishan, allegedly, right? By way of example, after returning to New York after a trip to Las Vegas, during which she endured a brief hospital stay, Miss Ventura, who was then fully healthy, went out to a club with her friends. When Mr. Combs saw her out, he reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. At the time, Miss Ventura thought her record label was looking out for her well-being and thought that Mr. Combs had her best interest in mind. Mr. Combs had also ensured that he was entwined with Miss Ventura's personal and social life, for instance, by inviting himself to Miss Ventura's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas. He also brought along famous musicians and producers, thereby flaunting his celebrity status and influence in front of a young and impressionable Miss Ventura. Although Mr. Combs knew that Miss Ventura was in a relationship at the time, she was. And even though he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Porter, Mr. Combs nevertheless pursued Miss Ventura at an after party in a hotel suite. Following Miss Ventura's 21st birthday party, Mr. Combs pulled Miss Ventura into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Miss Ventura did not consent to this unwanted contact. She immediately ran out of the bathroom and the hotel suite and cried. She told her best friend at the time about what happened, but she was too scared to tell anyone else. At the Video Music Awards the following day, Miss Ventura's boyfriend at the time joined her and Mr. Combs at a table at the award ceremony. Mr. Combs became angry, telling Miss Ventura that the invitation to the award ceremony was only for her and not for her significant other. So that's BS, because what if she wanted to bring like her mom or anybody else that she wanted to share in the celebration with? Like, you can bring a +1 to an award ceremony. You can't tell her she can't bring somebody. Like, don't get controlling. Don't start getting controlling, right? Mr. Combs lures Miss Ventura into a relationship. Where were Cassie's people? Where was Cassie's people? Did she have a lawyer? Did she have security? Did she have, was Bad Boy her people? Did she have security? Did she have anybody looking out for her? Like a lawyer that she came into this with, a bodyguard that she came into this with. It just seemed like the Diddy Empire versus Cassie. Mr. Combs lures Miss Ventura into a relationship. Despite her clear rejection of Mr. Combs' advances, Mr. Combs continued to demand Miss Ventura spend time with him, including for a weekend at Mr. Combs' residence in Miami and for nights out in New York City. On one particular night around September 2007, Mr. Combs insisted on taking Miss Ventura out. Miss Ventura acquiesced, fearing that rejecting Mr. Combs' request would have repercussions for her album deal with Mr. Combs and his company, Bad Boy Records. Mr. Combs picked up Miss Ventura from her apartment in Manhattan in a blue luxury vehicle. Miss Ventura was surprised that when she got into the car, Mr. Combs was already inebriated. He handed her a pill and told her to take it. When Miss Ventura asked what the pill was, Mr. Combs dismissed her and told her she would like it. She later learned that the pill was ecstasy, something Miss Ventura had never before tried and did not want to try. This was the first time Mr. Combs got Miss Ventura high. He could have, poisoned her or something. He could have poisoned her right then and there, and nobody would have known. Honestly, if somebody offers you a pill and then you ask them what it is and they say, don't worry about it, who's still taking that pill? That is true manipulation right there. If I don't take it, he might just back smack me. That's how, I don't know. It's just immense trust or immense fear, right? Mr. Combs then proceeded to drive recklessly at very high speeds down the West Side Highway of Manhattan. Miss Ventura was very scared, but did not dare to object to Mr. Combs, who appeared drunk, high, and agitated. It is a miracle that they're still here, both of them. Mr. Combs took Miss Ventura to get in, because I know they did this every night. Mr. Combs took Miss Ventura to an upscale lounge in downtown Manhattan, where he proceeded to get in an altercation with security staff who would not permit Mr. Combs to enter. presumably because he was belligerent. Miss Ventura decided to go home, but for the remainder of the night, Mr. Combs messaged Miss Ventura incessantly, complaining that she left him high and alone. In early fall of 2007, Mr. Combs flexed his power and influence when he paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party hosted by Miss Ventura. This fake posting allowed Miss Ventura to have an excuse to go to Miami, Florida, and get away from her boyfriend by using the guise of a legitimate event she had to attend. Miss Ventura was stunned at how easily Mr. Combs was able to recruit others to lie for him. Money will make people do anything. Miss Ventura was uncomfortable with the fake flyer, but because the request to go to Miami was made by the owner of her record label, and because she was scared to go against his wishes and face repercussions to her nascent career, Miss Ventura agreed to join Mr. Combs in Florida. During this trip to Miami, Mr. Combs provided Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs. She became more intoxicated than she ever had before, and her intoxication lasted throughout the weekend trip. As she wanted Mr. Combs to continue to support her career, she felt like she couldn't refuse Mr. Combs urging her to take more drugs. After providing her with drugs, Mr. Combs had sexual with Miss Ventura during this trip. Within 2 years of meeting Mr. Combs, Miss Ventura found herself lured into the immediate circle of her boss, the owner of her record label, and one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry. All right, we're nearing the end of page 10, guys, which we're going to stop here. We're going to pick up at 3, guys. We're going to pick up at 3 for the next video. Now, this is digging into the foundation of their relationship. We kind of established the parties, the venue, what he's being alleged of, and how they met, and, you know, their first kiss, their first date, and their first time together, and it wasn't romantic at all. It wasn't what you thought. It wasn't like any normal relationship, like, oh, I took her out on a date. Even anything on Tinder, like, that's not the most romantic, but at least it's romantic enough. You know, you swipe right on somebody, y'all go on a date. Even a one night stand is more romantic than the start of their relationship. It just seems like a girl who wanted to make a change in her life. She wanted to be seen. Maybe she felt like she had never been seen before. A lot of people know how that feels. I know how that feels. You haven't been seen before, but you know you have some type of raw talent, and someone's finally noticing that. So let me give them what they want in turn for me to at least get a chance at being seen. So that's how their relationship came to be, in my unfiltered opinion. I don't know. I want to get you guys' opinion. We're going to pick up at 3 on the next video, and that's Mr. Combs exerting control over Miss Ventura's career and personal life. Like I said, we're not going to have a D video coming out next. It's going to be a continuation of the C. The C is going to be about 3 videos long, and then we'll delve into the D. But yeah, guys, this is a deep analysis of this lawsuit. For YouTube creators, this is investigative purposes, commentary purposes. All of these opinions are my own. This is a real document. I can put it in the bottom if you want to read it yourself. This is for like teaching and opinions and just scholarly journalism on the internet. So thank you guys for engaging with me again today. If you guys do anything for me, please follow me, subscribe, look at my other socials, go follow those, and please share video. I'm going to get into some new Facebook groups. And I think I'm going to go underneath, Cassie posts, P. Diddy posts. I'm going to get into some like celebrity news groups, maybe TMZ groups, and I'm going to post this video everywhere. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post this video everywhere. Share it, guys. Sharing is caring. So if everybody who watches it shares it, and everybody who watches it sees it, shares it, we're going to get somewhere. Okay. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you, guys.